Hi, my name is Anne Hintz. I'm going to share with you my journey into my body. Now, some of the things you might hear me say you may not believe possible, and that's okay. Up until a few years ago, I did not believe they were possible either. First of all, I'm going to show you some physical changes, and then I'm going to explain to you how I made those changes. Physical changes were never my goal, but happened as a consequence of pursuing my goal, which was always inner peace. Here are two photos of me as a young child. You can see that my head was not straight on my body. This is an X-ray from 2013. By then you can see that my head was straighter, but my neck was not. I found out I had scoliosis when I was in my 20s, but nothing I did about it seemed to make any difference. So I went to a chiropractor occasionally, but just lived with it. Unfortunately, I don't have a new X-ray from the front, but I do have comparison X-rays from the side. Note that I am not a medical doctor or a radiologist. I have been told that his X-rays look different because they have different settings, so ignore the color changes. What I am looking at are the structural changes. The X-ray on the left is from 2013, when I was 46. The X-ray on the right from 2021, when I was 54. Do you see the changes in the curve of the neck and the tilt of the head? Until I have a new X-ray from the front, here are some photos. The first is from May 2019, the second from April 2021. Notice the straightening of the neck. It's not fully straight yet, as you can see, but it's getting straighter every day. So the interesting thing is not that these changes happened necessarily. The interesting thing, at least to me, was that I made these changes myself with my focused awareness. Now, it is possible that a small amount of these changes were due to the orthodontic work that I underwent, but I do not feel that is the case. Specifically, I made these changes using focused attention. It could also possibly be called using the feeling mind instead of the thinking mind. As a way of explaining exactly what that means, I'd like to share with you how I developed this ability, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. There were several steps, but it started with emotions. When my boys were young, about 2 and 6, my holistic physician asked me what my stress level was. Being a stay-at-home mom with 2 beautiful boys, he did not think it should be high at all, and was very surprised when I said it was an 8 out of 10. When he asked me why, I knew immediately that it was from the trauma of finding my mother dead in my bathroom when I was 19. Even 2 decades later, the tears were so close to the surface. My doctor walked me through a seemingly crazy technique where he had me tapping on meridian points while talking through the event, and I walked away from his office being able to tell the story of her death with no emotions surfacing, like reading from a book. That was my first inkling into the idea that emotions are stored in the body, and that my resistance to looking at them had held them in place. The technique my doctor used is called EFT, short for Emotional Freedom Technique, and also called tapping. I learned the technique myself, and when the next week my cat needed daily saline shots, I tried it. I didn't think about using the technique initially, but my first shot did not go well. I had to do something different. So I tapped. I tapped about being afraid of needles and injections. I tapped about my memories of injections, and I tapped about the fear of hurting my cat. Next time, the needle slid right in. I was sold. Being someone who never did anything by halves and liked to do things myself, I started to use EFT on everything. I used it on everyday emotions, and I went back and used it on all the traumas I could remember from childhood. And the more I did that, the more memories surfaced. I had been hiding them inside, hidden under resistance. The more I worked through the layers of emotions, the more I was able to notice the physical sensations associated with the emotions. I was then able to tap on the physical sensations themselves rather than the mental concept of the emotion. So for example, with the emotion called fear, the physical sensation might be tension in the solar plexus. As I tapped through the meridian points, I would focus on feeling the tension in the solar plexus, and as I tapped, the tension would disappear. I was then able to tap while focusing on the physical sensations themselves, rather than the mental concept of the emotion. Someone in a book group I was in at the time told me many times that meditation was not necessary. All you had to do was feel your feelings. Well, the first time I heard that, it meant nothing to me, because I didn't know what I was feeling. After using EFT though, I began to notice exactly what I was feeling. The phrase "feel your feelings" then meant more sense to me, and I determined to start doing exactly that, feel my feelings. I started this when I was standing at my kitchen sink doing dishes. I would think a thought, and if it had any emotion attached to it, I would stop and work out where those feelings, the physical sensations, were inside my body. I would then feel them, allow them to be, not suppress them in any way. I'd even talk to them. "Hello, tension. I can feel you there. I know you just want to be felt. You're just stored tension. I can feel you right there, and it's okay." As I did with EFT, I did this a lot. I would lie on the couch and bring something emotional to mind, and then just feel the feelings, just allow them to be. I went back and reviewed the traumas from childhood. Then I moved on to collective traumas, the Loma Prieta earthquake, the tsunami, the Fukushima nuclear disaster, 9/11. Simply bringing up the emotions, feeling them, allowing them to be, and letting them pass through. When I first started this, I would fall asleep quickly. But soon I was able to do it for hours at a time if I wanted to. I was very present and very focused. My mind, which had been very busy, was becoming calm. At some point, I realized that even after the physical sensations had dissipated, I was still aware inside my body. I had been feeling tension in my abdomen at the time, and when I realized that I was still aware in my body, I moved my awareness to the right and noticed that I was still aware inside. It was quite a revelation at the time. I had gone from retelling the stories of my traumas, to feeling the emotions, to feeling the physical sensations associated with the emotions. But now I didn't even need the use of words. I could go straight to the physical tension stored in the body, bypassing the thinking mind altogether. I started going inside, feeling the tension, allowing it to be, just like I had done with feeling the feelings. Then I would move my awareness around, find some more tension, allow it to be, and let it pass through. The tension would shift, almost always releasing tension in my jaw and neck at the same time. What I realized was that I was moving my awareness around through the fascial system, or connective tissue. This wasn't an immediate discovery. It took a while. To begin with, I noticed that I could tell exactly where my awareness was inside my body, but I could not tell what my awareness was in. I couldn't determine if it was bone, tissue, or an organ. I researched and found out that the fascial system interpenetrates every part of the body. After I had done enough release work, things started to loosen up. I started to actually feel and hear the physical release inside my jaw and neck. It sounded and felt like connective tissue ripping. The first time this happened, I was a little concerned that I was damaging myself, but I soon realized that this was part of the process, and I strived for this release. I don't recall how long it took me, many months I believe, but eventually I was able to put my awareness inside my head as opposed to my body. The amount of tension I have since released in my cheeks, jaw, and neck has been immense. Even as a teenager, I had migraine headaches, and in my 40s, my orthodontist told me that I probably held a lot of tension in my head. I disagreed with him at the time because I was not aware of the tension. He was right. The amount of tension that I, and I assume most people, hold subconsciously in their body is truly astounding. For many months, I was not able to hold my awareness in my left cheek because the pain in there was so intense. And yet, if my awareness is not in my cheek, I am not aware of the pain. So here we are, back to the X-rays. I have released so much tension that I have literally felt my bones shift. I am now more able to differentiate between bone and tissue. Putting my focused attention in the root of a tooth and feeling the tension release there is still a little weird. It is, however, focused attention on tension inside my head that has produced these changes. What am I sensing with? I believe it is the third or inner eye, because I am sensing within. Since I am looking within, looking from somewhere, I know that I am not my body, but simply inhabit my body. I also know that if I can activate this inner eye, then anybody with a sincere desire to do the work can activate it too. I have documented the path I took in my book called A Pathway to Insight. It's available from your local bookstore or from this link on Amazon. If you know of anyone who is locked in their body, or part of their body is stuck or diseased or damaged, or whose body is stuck somewhere like prison, please pass the link to this video on to them. We all have this power within us. I plan to make more videos on the specifics of this journey. If you would like to see them, please subscribe or check back. Thank you for your time.